Yay! Hello everyone, and welcome to the contest.
Thank you.
I'm Sergeant at Arms, Scott Terry, and I am here to welcome our contest chair, Dan Craig. Good luck to all the contestants.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and viewers at home later. This is our Area 92 Fall Contest for Evaluation and Humorous Speech. I think we're going to have a really good contest, a very strong lineup of contestants. I think there's a lot that we can learn and enjoy here. Before we get rolling, I'm going to introduce the dignitary in the room, Mr. Don Wadley.
Thank you so much. I'll talk later. Hope we have a great contest.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
He is the Area 92 Assistant Governor, if I've got the title.
Go!
Big left, no end there.
I think the only other announcement before we start is cell phones and electronic devices. Please turn off anything that's going to make noise and distract our contestants. The first contest is the evaluation contest. Earlier, the contestants drew lot to determine their speaking order. The order of the contestants will be first Tom Trainer, second Samuel Joseph Cragen, third Gene Symington Craig. That's Tom Trainer, Samuel Joseph Cragen, and Gene Symington Craig. For a review of the rules of the evaluation contest, please welcome our Chief Judge, Will Burns.
Thank you, Dan. Welcome guests, honored dignitaries, Don, and fellow guests from outside of town, and fellow Toastmasters, all of you. As Chief Judge of this contest, I confirm that we have equal representation across the entire area involved in this contest today. Now that the judges, timers, and ballot candidates have been briefed on their roles, I will ask the chief timer to please just review the procedures involved with the timing.
Okay, thank you. There shall be at least 2 timers, one of whom shall be provided with a stopwatch by the Chief Judge, which has been done. They shall keep the official record of the time of each contestant's presentation. The timer shall provide green, amber, and red warning signals, which shall be clearly visible to the speakers, but not obvious to the audience. Any sightless contestant may request and must be granted a form of warning signal of his or her own choosing, which may be an audible device. The contestant must provide any special device required for such signal. Any contestant is disqualified whose presentation time is less than the minimum time or more than the maximum time indicated below. For the evaluation speech, the evaluation length is 2 to 3 minutes. A contestant will be disqualified for speaking less than 1 minute, 30 seconds, or more than 3 minutes, 30 seconds. The green signal will be displayed at 2 minutes. The amber symbol will be displayed at 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and the red signal will be displayed at 3 minutes and remain displayed until the evaluation ends. The timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. This will usually be the first word uttered by the contestant, but would include any other communication such as sound effects, a staged act by another person, etc. Thank you.
I remind each of you that there are to be no pictures taken of this event or during the event. They can all go off. And that I ask that you remain in this room during the contest, with the exception of the breaks, as directed by the Sergeant at Arms. So, with that, we've already silenced our cell phones. Are there any, if there's any questions about originality or any protests to be made, those protests are limited to be made by the contestants and by the judges, to either me or the contest chair, prior to the announcement of any winners. Now, what are your questions? With no questions, I now call the meeting to order and call back.
Thank you, Will. So let the contest begin. Our test speaker is going to be Don Wadley. His speech title is Practical Aspects of Team Building. Practical Aspects of Team Building, Don Wadley.
How many of you, in fact, I'm sure all of you, have been faced with this situation where all of a sudden you've been asked to do something and you say, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. Oh, this is going to be terrible. How can I do this? I got to get going on this because this is important right now. It's got to be something that I got to do because time is short and I got to get everything organized and this is someone and I have to put a team together. You been faced with that? Huh. Everybody's been faced with that. What are you trying to do? You're trying to form a team. You don't know how. So what's the first thing that most people do? Is they say, oh, I need some help. I need to get some people together who know what they're doing. I got to get going on the phone. And this is, oh man, I don't know. Oh, you know, this is the... No. What you do, there's some practical ways of going about this. One is that you have to take a look in the virtual mirror. You know what a virtual mirror? It's kind of like, it's a virtual, it's kind of like an out-of-body experience. You know what I mean? You just kind of, it's really not there, but you're looking at this mirror. And what's a mirror? It's what's looking back at you. So, what do you do when you look into this mirror? There's a number of things that you have to do. We'll cover a couple of them here. One of the first things that you do is relax. Sit back and take a deep breath and say, okay, what is it that needs to be done? I can make a list of what it is that's going to be done. I got to call some people. I have to decide what it is that I'm going to be. What is the tasks that I've been asked to do? What is the organization? What is the team supposed to accomplish? Put them out here. And then you say, I can't do this alone. I need to take a look at whatever else what kind of talents have to be brought to this. So what talents do I have? I'm part of this team. So be honest with yourself and say, what are the values that I bring? What is my perception of what this team is supposed to accomplish? What are the attributes that the team members, me included, have to bring to make this thing a success? Well, that takes some thought. and you go back and you say, here's what needs to be done, and here's what has to happen. What is it that you're actually trying to do? Here's the crux of what I'm going to be talking about. As you look at what it is that your team is trying to accomplish, let's take a look at what vision you have for what that is going to be. And take a look at the values that support that vision, the values that you have. A vision, there's a number of different things that you have to have. You have to be creative. Some part over here has got the creative part. I'm not real creative here, so I need to get somebody on my team who's got some creative talent. I have to have, in order for, let's say it's an event that you're going to be putting on, I have to have some support for this event. I have to have some logistics. I have to make sure that I got a place to have this. I got to make sure that I have whatever the speakers need. I need speakers. All these things are things that have to be there. So you make a list of those. One of the things that a lot of people don't do, that I'm going to recommend that you do when you're in this kind of a situation, is that you create a mission statement for your, let's say it's an event. Okay, I am in that situation now. I am the dean of TLI West. TLI West is the upcoming officer training and other leadership training institute that is going to be held up in Moline. I have a number of things that I would like to accomplish. So one of the things that I have done is I have taken a list and said what it is that I'm good at. I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at coming up with ideas. I'm bad at approaching people and asking them to do work for me. I'm good at trying to figure out where all the weak spots are in the program. I'm bad at trying to find the right people to do the speaking, the presenting, the training that has to happen at this. So I have to do that. So those are the strengths that I had. And then I came up with a mission statement. And I'd like to read you the mission statement that I prepared for TLI West. Our mission is to provide training in a number of areas beyond the officer duties, which will fit various needs of both districts, both District 19 and 54, as determined by seeking out and identifying those needs, selecting which can be best met in a TLI environment, and staffing with the best available trainers and staff while making positive efforts to attract all Toastmasters seeking to improve their leadership skills, be they officers or not. It's a pretty complex mission statement. But I'm saying this that once you develop that mission statement for whatever event or purpose for your team, you now have something that you can take in hand and you've got a good product to sell. And you can go talk to people and say, I want you to help me accomplish this mission. And it's a good statement there that people can identify with and say, I will do that. I'd like to close by using a paraphrase from Dick Gregory. If you have something valuable and worthwhile, you don't need to press it onto others. They will steal it, make it their own, and jump to your aid. I'm taking vast liberties with that statement. But if you've got something solid, you don't have to press it. They will steal it, they will work on it, and you will have your team. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you, Don. Now, Sergeant at Arms Scott Terry, would you escort the contestants from the room? Yeah, you might as well just stay up here.
Okay,
We can
I'll
give-
sleep here.
We can give you some hats. I just wanted to ask you a few questions for the benefit of our viewing audience.
Yes.
Do I have it right, one of your current titles is Public Relations Director for District 19?
Yes, it is.
All right. What would you like the Toastmasters in District 19 to have in their awareness these days?
Wow. The main thing that the public relations officer has, one of the main duties, is to present the organization to the rest of the world and to provide some way of encouraging individual clubs to spread the word. Put their names into press releases, sponsor events that they invite the people to, different things like that that help spread the word, and then give incentives to different club members to accomplish that. In a nutshell, that's what the public relations officer does.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
Now, you're also the Assistant Area Governor for Area 92. The area governor is Romero Rodriguez III, is that correct? Can you tell me about working with him? It's kind of an unusual situation.
It is an unusual thing. Romero, I've got the greatest respect for this guy, and if you ever have a chance to meet him, please do. He is currently incarcerated at East Moline Correctional Center, and he has about 20-some months left in his sentence. He accomplished his CTM several years ago at a different institution. He's just recently completed his ACB. He's well on his way to completing his ACS. He's gotten his CL, and he's, I believe that he is, well, now that he's got an area governorship, he has accomplished his ALS, I believe, or ALB at least. And working with him, it's interesting because I go around and I do all this stuff, and then I go to the prison, and during a club meeting, I have a folder that is full of papers, and he has a folder that is full of papers, and he writes down what his thoughts are, gives me that folder, I give him this, and then we have a few minutes to talk. And it's really kind of amazing how well that works. It does cause some problems in between times, and he does have every president's address, so he does send letters around, and he can receive mail. But the main thing is that he's just a wonderful guy to work with, and it's like I really believe that he's going to be one of the finer DTMs that ever achieves that level. Just a wonderful fellow. And I hope that a lot of you take advantage of something I hope to talk about later about going to actually meet him.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah.
great, that's great. Now, how many different levels of governor have you been? You've been the area governor.
I've been the area governor, and I've been division governor. I have not been either lieutenant governor of whatever, or the district governor. There's people that say that I'm headed there. My kids are saying, Dad, you know how old you are. And says, we want to have some time with you too, you know. So I don't know what my plans are. We'll find that out when the time comes.
Well, I always think it was lucky for Romero to have
Yeah.
you to work with, since you've got all that experience.
Thank you.
The other thing I was curious about is, how many different conferences do you go to? There's the area, the division, the district, I'm not even sure how it gets up to international, but.
Well, let's just say that last year, just for Toastmasters, I put about 16,000 miles on my car. I try to make every district conference.
You're sort of like a deadhead.
Yeah,
Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead.
yeah, Okay, then what I really like to push is for everybody who can, go to Davenport in November 9th and 10th. We're going to have our fall conference there.
That's the district?
That's the district conference. The division contest and conference are going to be this coming Saturday, and it's going to be in Muscatine. So you guys that win tonight, you gotta work hard and quick because we're going to be there. And then after that, we're just going to run away with the contest at conference. I just know that. I'm not supposed to say that because I'm now a district officer and I'm not just a division person anymore. So shame on me.
Yeah.
So what's the level after, are we
5
ready?
minutes.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Don.
You betcha.
I think we might see you again.
I think you might. Thank you.
Our first, let me know when he's at the door. All right, Tom Trainer, contestant number 1.
Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests, good to see you. But most especially Don Wadley, Toastmaster, Assistant Area Governor. Excellent topic, excellent subject, excellent opening. You brought us into your speech with questions. You invited us into your speech and asked us to share your problem, which in effect is asking us to commiserate and enjoy your problem. You did an excellent job of taking us through the steps. You had step 1, step 2, step 3. You covered a lot of ground. You had the visions, the values. I really liked the fact that you read your mission statement out loud. I maybe would have seen that sooner, and then other things would have tied into it. Very animated, very sincere, and you used the stage. You weren't exactly tied down. Now let me give you some improvements that I think you could use better. I would open with, what are we trying to accomplish? Make it short, make it sweet. And say it twice. Because that's the message. What are we trying to accomplish? That takes us out of my problem, your problem. It gets us into a we environment. What are we trying to accomplish? That states it clearly. Second suggestion, do the Toastmasters High Performance Leadership Project, which is obviously you're doing for TLI West. So I would reference that in your speech. We're all Toastmasters. Let us know you're doing this project, okay? Because they might want to do it too. You can use the stage to emphasize your points. When you're talking about visions, you use this piece of the stage. You want to talk about your values. You want to talk about the talents. Then when you go back to those, you go back to the same point to emphasize that I'm talking about values. Values, stage location, they all tie up. The message, the visual, the verbal, all ties together because you're making them tie together by using your stage not to wander around, but to tie it to your speech. What else? Vocal variety and energy. You started here and you finished here. You kind of ran out of steam about halfway through, and if you're going to start at that level, be ready to be there the whole way because you want to be consistent. I thought you had very good material. I think one thing you could have done was finish with another question and tie the question back to the beginning to emphasize what are we trying to accomplish. You could even finish with what are you trying to accomplish, what are we trying to accomplish. Pull it all together. Mr. Contest Chair.
Timer, may we have 1 minute of silence, please? Number 2, Samuel Joseph Cregan. Samuel Joseph Cregan, contestant number 2.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, it's a real privilege to be here tonight and to be able to critique one of my fellow Toastmasters. Tonight, we were asked to critique or be an evaluator for, I was asked to be an evaluator for Don. Over the years, since Don has been a member for about 3 years, 4 years now, I've watched him, and this is to Don. I think you've done an excellent job tonight, and you're getting better each time. What I really enjoyed about Don's speech tonight was how he was talking about an out-of-body experience, and about how there was a virtual mirror, and he was looking at himself in that mirror. I also think he done a great job by, in his speech, letting us know all the things that were involved about leadership and his responsibility for the group. The other thing that I liked a lot, tremendously, was everything that he said, if you notice, referred back to team. We're all a team. I think that's one of the greatest things for each of us to remember, is that we're all in this together. And each one of us is just like a piece of a watch or a piece of a car engine or something. And everything that we do is important to the entire part or the entire group. I think Don said that in many ways during his speech. One of the things that I think that Don could have done, maybe when he ended it, I liked the ending, I liked it a lot, when he was talking about how if you have something worthwhile, then someone will steal it. And to me, I believe that's true. And the reason that I think that's true is, if you have a group and a leader, to me, a leader is worthwhile, then eventually other people, because of your feelings and your reactions and your doing and your planning and you're doing your job, other people will pick up on that. They will also give them incentive to do their job. As far as how could Don improve his speech, Don's been around all over the state, drive thousands of miles going to these meetings. It would have been nice, Don, if you could have used some examples of something that someone else done in the group that helped to be part of that team. Otherwise, I thought you had awesome body language, enthusiasm, and sincerity in your speech, Don. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
No!
Timer, maybe we'll have a minute of silence, please. Now, contestant number 3, Jean Symington Craig.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, and particularly Don. Don is so full of gestures there in that speech. He was out, he was this, he was here, he was all over here. Very well done with your body gestures. You really illustrated the stories that you were telling. Don also had great vocal variety, I thought. He would say, have you ever had to do something, what do I have to do? And tossing the phone, that's a new gesture I haven't seen before. I really like the way he did that. He organized his speech as a problem and a solution. Have you ever tried to get something done? Do you need to put together a team? And then the solution. Sitting down, relaxing, making a list, finding out what you can bring to the table, what others can bring to the table, creating a vision statement, and then a mission statement. Since this was titled Practical Aspects of Team Building, one thing I would suggest for Don is, without spending a lot of additional time, because we're talking about here's a mission and here is a vision and here is an accomplishment that we want to get done, is to, even though he focused primarily on vision and mission, to help give us some steps that get us to the finish line. The relationship building, the planning, the accountability, something that kind of connects us in the end to that accomplishment, even though he chose to speak at the beginning phases of team building. Secondly, I'd like to have Don, because it's team building, I'd like to see him be a little more interactive with the audience. Stronger eye contact, because team building is about making relationships with people. So I'd like to see that happen a little bit more, because when Don's talking, I'm thinking, do I want to be on Don's team or not? Okay. And finally, I would say for Don, a suggestion would be I'd like to see a little stronger conclusion. Something that really confirms for the whole group how many times you're going to be in a situation accomplishing something with people and through people, churches, civic organizations, at work, families, where these skills, these team building skills, are going to be really, really helpful, so that I get really inspired to want to adopt his methods that he's giving to me. Love the speech. Really strong point with the statements, with the examples. You made a statement about what you're going through, and then you actually gave us some personal experience of what you're going through right now. Made it all very comfortable and accessible, Don, and loved your speech.
Timer, 1 minute of silence, please. Judges, please complete your ballots and hold them up for the ballot counters to collect. Mr. Chief Judge, do you have all the judges' ballots and the timer's reports?
I do.
All right. We'll see you in a bit. I'd like to invite the contestants to come up as a group and chat a little bit.
Okay. Is this going to be am I going to be on national TV?
I was going to do ladies first. Now what am I going to do?
Ladies first.
Maybe closest first.
Okay.
Says.
Mr. Trainer, I know that you're a DTM twice over.
Yes.
I suspect, therefore, that you've been to a contest before.
Not only have I been to them, but I have run them many times, both at the club and the area and the division level.
For the benefit of some of us who haven't done much in the way of contests, could you just kind of share your thoughts on what the greatest value of being in contests is?
Depends on which contest. For me, the value of the evaluation contest is to see how others see the same thing you just saw, and how well they've honed in on various pieces. And I myself notice that no matter how many times I compete against one particular individual at the state level, he's always better than I am, and he is better. I know that every time I see him. And we're talking about our friend Reginald Williams. And no matter how good you get, Reginald always seems to just up the game just a tad. And when you get to the state level, there are 5 people that can all whip you any day of the week.
Sure. So it gives you a little perspective.
Exactly. And you look at how their thinking is. Their thinking is different. And you think, boy, I wish I could be that, da-da-da-da-da. Sometimes you get a little better at it. By noticing, you notice what they notice.
Okay, thanks. Sam, you're currently the president and the VP of Ed of the Burlington Club.
Yes, I am.
Glad to have you with us tonight.
Not VP of Ed.
That's over there.
Actually, I'm VP membership.
Well, I'll let you guys fight it out.
That's fine.
I was interested to see on your bio sheet that you gave me that you've got a lot of outside interest. I mean, it's refreshing to see a Toastmaster who does other things too. But for example, you are very serious about photography. Can you tell us what you've been up to lately?
I've accomplished several things in photography. I'm an amateur photographer, but I won an international award. And I've won first place, several first place ribbons at the Des Moines County Fair and different places. And I've sold some of my photographs. But I'm still an amateur, I just do it for fun.
Do you take color or black and white? Or?
I do both. A lot of times I will also take a picture and I'll put it in Photoshop and distort it, turn it into something totally different. You won't even recognize what it was. So that's just a fun of manipulation. So it goes along with my hobby of poetry. I also write poetry, then I do photography and do poetry with the photography. And I kind of enjoy having to come up and brainstorm some kind of a poem that will go with that particular photograph.
Have you self-published any books or?
No, I haven't. I had in mind once. I'm Italian, and I'm an Italian chef, and I was in the process of starting an Italian cookbook. Too many things to do in life.
Maybe later.
Yes.
Okay. And Gene's Huntington Craft.
Didn't ask me for a bio sheet.
Maybe I should have. We'll see if I can get through. I thought a really interesting thing about you is that you're competing tonight as a member of the Conscious Communicators, which is the club from the maximum security prison in Fort Madison. Could you tell us why it is that you felt inspired to be a contestant for that club?
That is a very, actually, simple question. It's very hard for anybody else in that club to come to the contest. For them, it's not about getting to the contest, it's about getting out the front door. Although there are a couple of other outside members. I just thought it would be great for them to have representation in a contest where obviously they can't compete, but I get to carry the flag.
Is
Just
it
do a brief
permissible
explanation
that
about
DVD
what
of
that
the
is.
contest
Yeah.
go back to them?
No,
Yeah.
can't take a DVD.
Could you just give a brief explanation for folks who might not know what that means?
Conscious communicators?
Yeah.
So conscious communicators, and it is spelled capital C-O-N for conscious communicators, is a all-male Toastmasters club. It's been in existence since what, about 2000?
Yep.
Tom Trainer was one of the founders there. It is a maximum security facility. People are in there often for life, more often than not their life. So this is serious offenders. They meet every first and third Saturday of the month, unless there's a lockdown or a riot or something else going on. In which case we obviously don't want to go in. But they're very together, and their club is run with a very high protocol. Seth has been there. Seth has been a guest speaker, try to bring people in. I was the area governor, and I met them last year, and I was just blown away. They did finish as a select distinguished club this last year, which was huge, given that sometimes people disappear for months because if they've done something. But I'm just it's a very rewarding club, and I think that's kind of why I wanted to represent them, just to be able to, who knows, whatever happens, but if I'm able to carry that forward, then I get to be representing a club that otherwise wouldn't be able to have any presence at all in a contest like this. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to have the humorous speech contest, but first we're going to take a little break. Welcome back. We are now ready for the humorous speech contest. For this contest, all the contestants may remain in the room. Earlier, the contestants drew lots to determine their speaking order. The order of the contestants will be: first, Seth Braun; second, Jesus Rios; third, Todd Etkin. For a review of the rules, please welcome Chief Judge Will Burns.
Thank you, Dan.
Or back, that's good.
Once again, as Chief Judge for our second contest, I confirm that we have equal representation across the area to conform to the club. The judges and ballot counters are ready to go, and I will now turn it over to the chief timer to enunciate what is the requirements there.
Thank you, Will. There shall be at least 2 timers, one of whom shall be provided with a stopwatch by the chief judge, which has been done. They shall keep the official record of the time of each contestant's presentation. The timer shall provide green, amber, and red warning signals, which shall be clearly visible to the speakers, but not obvious to the audience. Any sightless contestant may request and must be granted a form of warning signal of his or her own choosing, which may be an audible device. The contestant must provide any special device required for such signal. Any contestant is disqualified whose presentation time is less than the minimum time or more than the maximum time indicated below. No signal shall be given to indicate that a presentation has gone into overtime. In the event of technical failure of the signals, a contestant is allowed 30 seconds extra overtime before being disqualified. Timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. This will usually be the first word uttered by the contestant, but would include any other communication such as sound effects, a staged act by another person, etc. Following are the timing rules for the humorous speech. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. A contestant will be disqualified for speaking less than 4 minutes 30 seconds or more than 7 minutes 30 seconds. The green signal will be displayed at 5 minutes. The amber signal will be displayed at 6 minutes. The red signal will be displayed at 7 minutes and remain displayed until the speech ends. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, I remind all in the room to please leave during the designated periods, and that's directed by the sergeant at arms. Finally, I will also reiterate about originality, and oh yeah, please turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices. For any of the any contestants or judges, if you happen to observe, or if you happen to witness, I guess I would say, that during the humorous speech, if there's an issue with originality, if you had heard that somewhere before, if it came from a different source, it was not an original work being displayed tonight, then if you're a contestant or a judge, you need to let me or the contest chair know. And with that, with no special arrangements, everybody can stay in the room. And with that, are there any questions? Mr. Contest Chair, we are in order.
Yay!
Our contestant number 1 in humorous speech is Seth Braun. The title of his speech, A Day in the Life in Boulder, Colorado. I'm going to repeat myself here. A Day in the Life in Boulder, Colorado, Seth Braun.
Okay, everybody, good morning. Everybody stand up. Come on. Stand up and reach up real high and just grab that big ball of energy and just hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And then just let it float down over your head, filling your body with light and love and consciousness. And breathe it in. Okay, you can all have a seat. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters guests and distinguished guests, I wonder if the sages in history, in the yogic tradition, had in mind Aileen from Georgia teaching a yoga class with short hip hugger yoga pants with a G-string. I just don't know that that's what those guys 10,000 years ago writing the sutras were thinking about. But yeah, that's a typical day in starting in Boulder, the 6 a.m. yoga class with Aileen. Good morning, it's good to see you today. And funny thing is, though, I woke up this morning and I had a little bit of a headache. And I thought, well, I'll just skip my sun gazing this morning. I'll just go right to the yoga class. And after yoga class, I still had this headache. So I was walking out with my friend Pete. And I said, Pete, I have this headache. You know, I thought the yoga class would move it. And he said, your lymph's probably backed up. I said, okay. What do you think I should do? He said, you should probably get a massage. I said, that's a good idea, because I just read that stress was the #1 killer of productivity in the workplace. I thought, I'll get more done today if I schedule myself a massage. So I went down to the massage franchise on the corner, a Broadway and Arapahoe across from Wild Oats. Well, it's not really Wild Oats anymore. It's Alfalfa's. But it's not the original Alfalfa's. It's because the non-compete, non-disclosure came up between Wild Oats and Whole Foods. You know, they had the legal battle. Well, anyways, the guy that founded Wild Oats and the guy that founded Alfalfa's had to go back to court, and they let him open up a new store in Boulder right on the corner of Broadway and Arapahoe. So anyways, I'm going to the massage place across the street. And I'm in there, and I get my massage, and afterwards the woman says, you know, you should probably take some herbs to help move the lymph out. You're pretty backed up. I said, that's a good idea, because I want to have a productive day at work. You know, it's about 9 o'clock at this point, and I haven't had breakfast yet either, so I thought, okay, where can I get these herbs? She said, well, you can go to Vitamin Cottage, or you can go to Whole Foods, or you can go to GNC, or you can go to Heather's Herb Shop, or you can go to Rebecca's Apothecary. I thought, well, I'll go to Whole Foods because I haven't had breakfast yet. So I walk into Whole Foods. I'm on my bike, of course, and I locked it up, walked in, and I saw my friend Suzanne. I said, Suzanne, I'm about to get some herbs. She said, oh, I know the best herbs, and we went to the herb section. We went to the other side of the herb section, over here, over here. And we walked around the third aisle of the herb section, and she said, aha, there it is. And then the person that worked at Whole Foods came up and said, can we help you with something here? Can we? And Suzanne and I said, well, we're looking for herbs to help move the lymph. She said, oh, you're moving the lymph. You ought to talk to my mentor. I said, why? She said, because you really ought to be doing cranial sacral work. I said, well, I just had a massage. She said, oh, no, you didn't. I said, is that okay? And Susan said, I think it is. The woman at Whole Foods said, no. No, because the massage is just going to move the lymph in the body, but it's going to stay there. And if you haven't corrected the pulsing flow of the body's fluids, the lymph won't go anywhere. Oh, so you have toxins in your body right now. You need to do something about it. She handed me a bottle of tinctured herbs from Wish Garden Herbs right there in Boulder. Wild crafted, of course. And I got my breakfast, and I realized that I was starting to get stressed out because I needed to go to work, and it was now approximately 10:30, and I just spent $54.63 on my herbs and breakfast at Whole Foods, and I'm thinking, wow, this is adding up. But by this time, I decided, well, if I'm going to do this, I have lymph stuck in my body now, I better go see someone. So I called up her mentor. She had an opening, and I got in before lunch. I thought, okay, the second half of the day will be devoted to work. How many of you have ever had cranial sacral work? Oh, it's a delightful thing. She took out these little things and put them on her finger, and she stuck it way up inside of my nose. I didn't think you could put your finger that far up so. And then she put her hand under my tailbone. I thought, whoa, I didn't know it was this kind of treatment. And then we proceeded to adjust, and I kind of had an out-of-body experience, and I kind of had this dream. There was a virtual mirror. It was a very odd thing. And it was done. I did feel better. I felt pretty good. But it was lunchtime. So I had to go back to Whole Foods, and I walked in and I saw my friend John. And John and I were talking. I said, yeah, I just spent the morning. I went to yoga class. I moved my lymph. And I got all this work done. But John, I'm kind of tired. And I'm just a little stressed out because, you know, work. I just spent like $100 this morning and I haven't been to work yet. I said, your serotonin level's low. What you need to do is eat a baked potato. And so I'm in line to get my baked potato, and there's my friend Marge, and I'm getting my potato and I'm about to order some organic roast beef. And she said, you can't do that. I said, why not? She said, it won't digest well. It's bad food combining. So I just got 3 potatoes. So I sat down, I paid for my 3 potatoes, it was $24.95. And I'm eating my potatoes plain because I don't know what else to do. Everything apparently doesn't combine well with potatoes. And then I feel sleepy, really sleepy. I was tired before, but I was happy. I felt happy. Well, the day continued on like this, but fortunately I saw my friend who is involved with a network marketing company. She gave me a couple little packets of something. I drank those in a little bottle of water. And then I was ready to go! I was ready to go back to work! But I didn't quite make it. Because I saw another friend. And the moral of the story is this. If you wake up with a headache, take 2 aspirin. Mr. Contest Jim.
Yes.
Timer. May we please have 1 minute of silence. And now for contestant number 2, it's Jesus Rios. The title of his speech, My Funny Childhood. I'll repeat, My Funny Childhood, Jesus Rios.
First of all, I'd like to point out I call my speech My Funny Childhood, but in reality, it wasn't funny. But I choose to make it funny because I like to get the best out of any situation, even if it's a bad situation. As I mentioned before, I grew up really poor. I had patches on the patches on my pants. I wear my shoes until the soles were totally gone. Then if I were to step on a piece of gum in the street, I was able to tell you which flavor that was. I grew up in a house without a father. I asked my father, I said, Mom, what happened to my dad? He said, I don't know, he disappeared. So I took it, he was a magician. So I said, maybe I gotta give that a try. I want to do that. As a little kid, I like to share with you one of the oldest pictures of mine. At the age, maybe approximately 2 years. And you can tell my boots, they have holes in there. My underwear, they were made by my grandmother. My sweater. I was busy there, I was breaking some sticks. I had to keep myself entertained. That was an impromptu picture. My grandma said that when the man was walking by, I just said, hey, take a picture of me, take a picture of me. So he took a picture of me. Now this picture was planned. Now, here I'm at the age of 5 years old, and if you notice, I'm still wearing the same boots. And those boots were passed on from my older brother, which my sister wore before him. That was a prepared picture. As you can see, I'm in my gala clothing. I'm in a show clothing. But the idea of my message today is that no matter what the situation is, you can always make the impossible. What seems to be impossible, you can make that possible. And this is supposed to be funny. And I will try to make it funny. But it can be difficult because all of us have a different sense of humor. And to demonstrate that, I like to get somebody that is willing to let me borrow a $1 bill, and I'm going to show you just what I mean. You have one, maybe? Okay, I have one over here. Thank you very much. I will do what is my impression of playing Iowa Lottery. How many of you here play Iowa Lottery? Let me rephrase the question. How many of you are willing to admit that you play Iowa Lottery? Okay. I will read the serial number K2535339-2E. Now you remember that. This is my impression of Iowa Lottery. Woohoo! That's it. That's it. That's it. You see what I mean? Mostly everybody thought it was funny. Except the gentleman. Don't. I'll make it up to you. There you go.
Yay!
Yes. Is that real? Is that real?
Looks like it.
I thought that magic was something that I had to try just because my father disappeared on me. When I was in school, it always get me in trouble trying to be funny. And you have to be really careful what you tell a little kid. And I remember one time, I told my uncle, I said, "Uncle, let me show you a magic trick." He said, "Okay, what do you need?" I said, "Let me borrow a 1 peso back in Mexico, the equivalent of $1. I got $1 and said, "Okay, watch, I'm gonna make it disappear. Watch." He said, "Oh, very funny, very funny." I thought, oh, he liked it. "Let me do that again, Uncle, give me another $1. He wouldn't fall for it. He said, "Oh, let me show you a trick." I said, "Okay." He said, "Put my finger." Oh, you guys know that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'd like to show you something that I think it will be magical. I'm going to show you how everything, the seemingly impossible, is possible. But for this, you need a magic wand. If you don't have a magic wand, anyone will do. In my case, I have an American magic wand. Made in China. With this, I will have to dress properly. I will do this really slow. Notice that my hand never leaves my wrist. And don't blink. If you feel like blinking, you can go ahead and pre-blink. All I have to do is snap my fingers, say the magic word, chimpum pan tortillas papas. Will you please stand up and read out loud the serial number of the bill?
Oh gosh, okay. K2535339-2E.
Does that sound familiar?
That was it.
That was to show that everything can be possible. Thank you very much.
minute of silence, please. And now for lesson number 3. It's Todd Etkin. The title of his talk is Pollination. Pollination. Please welcome Todd Etkin.
Pollination. That scientific term we all oohed and ahed over. Once our teacher spoke it and defined it as a form of asexual reproduction. This definition itself shot me and every fellow pubescent 7th grader to the edge of our seats, anticipating more of those unknown facts about the birds and the bees. Discovering this new vocabulary word was the reproductive cycle of green plant life was an overwhelming letdown to us all. Following my 7th grade school year was the summer when 29 fellow citizens and I boarded a school bus way before the crack of dawn. We were partaking in summer employment, famed for its hefty wage of $3.30 an hour. Yes, I was one of the chosen few, one of the few chosen to bound from farm to farm over the bumpy, beaten down back roads of Iowa on a Bluebird bus. I was dressed in shorts and a t-shirt, accompanied by my cooler and color-coordinated thermos. I was an official detasseler. Once our bus halted, we evacuated into a field of water-soaked corn. An executive from the corporation employing me and my comrades beckoned our attention. He was a muscular man in form-fitting Wranglers with a firm pleat iron from thigh to cuff, a bright white V-neck tee, center-parted hair, and a handlebar mustache, thick enough to have been of great assistance to Moses during his historic parting of the Red Sea. This manly man proceeded with his hands-on demonstration of what the detasseling process entailed. He grabbed a pubescent stalk of corn and separated the leaves of its upper tier to expose a timid yet potent attachment, the tassel. He then grabbed it, thumb down, and with a swift upward jerk, parted this male appendage from its mother plant. I was appalled. There I was, a naive adolescent being ordered to strip the total manhood from another species of life, a species to which I held no ill feelings. I gritted my teeth and proceeded forward, cleansing this innocent, undefiled corn, robbing it from its right to procreate, while each stalk stood so near its peak moment of fertility. My continuous journey, castrating corn, had me trot across miles and miles of rough, recently fertilized topsoil for what seemed like an endless span of time. I began to weaken. Misery enveloped me. Then, lunch. I downed my meal so rapidly, Guinness himself would have had great difficulty in an accurate timing. Then our foreman gave a holler, concluding our break. I lethargically returned to that sinful task of annihilating another of God's creations by means of sterilization. With the sun now higher in the sky, its rays began drying this victimized foliage. That scorching sun was saturating my soft, supple skin with its burning, beaming rays of bright light. My fatigued arms were sore from the constant attack of those recently dried leaves. Leaves that had become stiffer, sharper, and more aggressive were cutting my flesh from all directions, from every possible angle. I was trapped. There was no way out. I began praying, pleading for the Lord's mercy when a dark cloud appeared in the midst of that pale blue sky, it honed in above me and initiated the pitter-patter of rainfall on those seemingly venomous leaves. Leaves that were everywhere I was and was to be. Oh, the relief, the soothing relief that transformed into a relentless downpour, rain-coated everything, everywhere, and converted that dry soil into a muddy mayhem, causing each of my steps to fall deeper and deeper into this soggy earth from which these plants were born. This mire of mud was covering my shoes which multiplied in weight with each stride which was slower and more arduous than the last, until there was no shoe to proceed forward with my foot. This vengeful earth had swallowed my footwear and was now aggressively pulling, tugging, sucking on my socket foot as I strayed forward in my senseless trek of ridding fellow creatures of their Y chromosome, their total potential for propagation. The sight and smell of corn was engulfing my senses, restraining my desperately needed, oh, so tardy conclusion. Regardless of the wages, man should not fool with Mother Nature.
Timer, may we have 1 minute of silence, please? Judges, please complete your ballots and hold them up for the ballot counters to collect. Chief Judge, do you have all the ballots and the timer's reports?
We do. I do.
I'd like to invite the contestants to come back up for a short interview. Well, you seem like a friendly fellow. Let's start with you.
All right, you guys want to come up here?
You were second, you were second.
All right.
Seth, if I say indestructible success to you, does that ring?
Leading question.
Yes.
I'm wondering, I know that you told us, was it a year or so ago, that you went on this tour to promote your book? You talked to Unity churches and Toastmasters Club. Was it 100 talks in 100 days or something crazy like that?
Something crazy.
Something like that. Exactly.
So the thing I wanted to ask you was, what was your main goal in doing that tour? What did you hope to accomplish?
Sales.
Well, Mr. Contest, that's a fantastic question. I'm still paying my Whole Foods bill in Boulder, so I'm hoping to get that paid off. And then, you know, actually my goal this year was to give 300 talks and to sell 10,000 copies of my book and to give 25 speaking engagements professionally, paid, really well paid. And the great thing is I wrote a book called Indestructible Success, and I make mistakes all the time, and it's very humbling. And so the takeaway is, for everybody here, if you have a dream, you know, it's cool. Just keep working at it. You know, it's not it's going to happen if you keep moving forward. And you don't have to stress out about it. No, that's not what you asked. But this is what I wanted to say.
I've been a Family Topics Master before when Seth was a contestant, so I'm familiar with this this strategy.
Segue.
The segue. Jesus.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We all know you're a magician and that your stage name is Mr. Illusion. Is that
That is
right?
correct. That is correct.
What have you got coming up in your itinerary in the next few months? Do you attend big conferences, or do you just sort of travel around the area and give performances?
I cannot do both. Right now, my next engagement will be this Saturday or Sunday in Kiosakwa. They want to have a festival in the town. And that's a festival that I've done already 3 years. And I've been fortunate enough that usually whenever they hire me for the first time, they call me back again. So that's what I have as far as magic shows coming up right now. And also on Sunday in Burlington at the library, I'm going to be doing another presentation. So you guys can come. I would like to see you guys there. And I have more in the calendar, but I cannot remember the date right now. But I think that I'm fortunate that for some people keep calling me.
Yeah. All right,
And,
thanks.
You're welcome.
And Todd. Todd was the sergeant at arms for Golden Speakers when I was a brand new Toastmaster. And so my first exposure to Toastmasters, the dignified Toastmaster experience, was Todd doing an impression of Ed McMahon introducing Seth as Johnny Carson. It was somewhat eye-opening. Glad to have you back. Is it correct that you've got your DTM at this point, or you're close to having it?
Close.
What more do you have to do?
I don't know. I need to turn in that manual for advanced leadership silver and advanced communicator so gold, then I'll have it. When that's done.
So you're pretty close. Once you have that done, are you going to do it all over again, or?
Might as well.
I mean, that's evidently what one does. DTO, you just do another one. I know that when you were a member of Golden Speakers, you had to drive from Burlington every time and back. And do you miss that drive?
Well, gas was cheaper 2 or 3 years ago. I don't miss it at all. So.
Okay.
Gas is cheaper. I was still confident. It's outrageous. Gas is.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Seth, you want to do a magic trick? Oh, no. Hey, Susan.
Do you want to do a magic trick, Dan?
No. Other than disappear.
Question for the audience.
Yes.
If I'm correct, you've given that pollination talk before, I believe I remember it, right? What other occasions have you given it?
I gave it up at the, what's that chemical company up there in Muscatine? Monsanto. They loved it. And I went to the DuPont Corporation in Indianapolis, Indiana, and gave it to the people, engineers there. They just loved it, raved. Half of them, they're almost all Asian. They just laughed their buns off. They just loved it. They got it. They just gave me good reviews there.
Cool.
And I gave it also to the Grain Processing Corporation up there in Muscatine. Also, they loved it too.
Seth, have you ever given that talk before?
No. That was completely off the cuff, unprepared.
No kidding.
Table topic.
Just very busy right now with a lot of, my book is launching on Amazon in like less than 10 days, and I am completely obsessed with that book selling a lot of copies, particularly because I would like to make my mortgage payments.
You're on TV.
And if anybody wants to know, October 18th, just watch for it. Buy my book, you'll get some good stuff. Forward it to Amazon at sethbraun.com. Forward your receipt. We'll send you hundreds of dollars of free bonuses. October 18th. Indestructible Success, Amazon.com.
All right.
Yay! John, did you have a question?
I have a question for Seth. Seth, where does the lymph go?
Down, it goes down through the intestines.
Down to the...
Yes.
What is the lymph?
Well, the lymph is the drains in the house. The blood is the water coming in. The lymph are the sewers. So it's just like a house. It's where the waste goes. The often underlooked circulatory system in the body. Don't underestimate it.
Boulder is also known as Fairfield West.
No, Fairfield is known as East Boulder.
Oh, okay.
East
Jesus, you have one more illusion for us?
Just something with your
I
time.
guess,
Can you cut your time?
I can improvise. A pen, I just borrowed the pen from there. Watch really close. I'm gonna make the pen disappear right before your very eyes. Starting with the cap. Wait. It really didn't disappear. It just jumped to the other side. Watch.
I'm already in awe. Just enough.
Oh, not the cap. The pen. It really didn't disappear. It just jumped to the
I love it.
Watch. Watch the cap. Oh, it really didn't disappear.
Sleight of the hand, that's good.
The pen? Right here? Right here.
Was that sleight of hand or sleight of hand?
This is the item here in the show tonight, and we're going to sell this for a charity for Toastmasters. Who give me $1? One little bit now, one little bit now, one little bit now, one. I have one now, one, I have one now, two, little bit two now, two little bit now, two, now two, now three, little bit three, now $4, four little bit now, four, now five, now six, now seven, little bit seven, I'm at seven now, $8, down eight, little bit eight. Sold! $7 bidder, 26. $7 bidder, 26. Hey, Tom Trainer, okay?
Take him on tour with you.
Yeah, really.
I just want to make clear that everybody understood that the bid was actually real, and if you don't pay, I'm not gonna get upset. But right on the side of the door, there's gonna be two men in black. They will be upset.
I have one question. Jesus, is it really true that the disappearing of your dad made you interested in magic? I mean, is that true? Like there was something to that, or is that just humor?
It's just a humor, but in reality, my dad disappeared in my life. I found him when he was 16 years.
Yeah.
I was 16 years of age.
Yeah.
I went and looked for him. I found him, and I was really excited because I was at the age that I was going to start high school. But I didn't work the way I anticipated. He was physically abusive to me. I was his slave. I used to work from right after school, 4 o'clock, sometimes till about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, to be back in school at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I just couldn't keep up with the classes. I would just fall asleep. My body just...
I did have some corn. What's up? I mean, that was hard too. It really was.
I just wasn't sure.
Yes, but the message in reality was, then you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to, no matter what the circumstances are. It's just a matter of taking responsibility and take the driver's seat in your life and decide which way you want to go, instead of just allowing the circumstances to take you.
Motivation speaker right there. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need just a tiny little break here. The results of the evaluation contest and the humorous speech contest are in.
Yay! It is good.
I'll mention that second place is very important. The division contest is this Saturday, October 13th. If the first place winner cannot compete, then the second place winner can take his or her place. I'd like to ask Don Wadley to come up and hand out the certificates.
This is the evaluation contest.
So the second place winner evaluation contest is Gene Simonton Craig.
Oh, go ahead.
Sit down.
First place winner of the evaluation contest, Tom Trainer.
the winners of Humorous Speech Contest. Second place Humorous Speech Contest is Todd Etkin. First place in the humorous speech is Seth Braun. There are some important people I'd like to thank. But first, thank you everyone for making tonight such a great success. It was a very good contest.
Yeah!
Thank you to our ballot counters. That was Rhonda Whitaker and Stephanie Chambers.
No! Bob, he's got a certificate for you.
There's a certificate for you.
Yeah, go, go, go.
Come on up.
We got the Sergeant at Arms, Scott Terry.
Yo!
We'll get right back to you.
Yeah.
We got the timer and assistant timer. That's Darlene Martin and John Loris.
I got certificates for you. Yay!
I'm sure it's here handy.
Come on, we're two-timing. What are you doing back there?
Yes, yes. Two-timer. Yes, yes.
Printed it.
Chief Judge, Will Burns.
Yes. Go, Willie, go.
I'm going to have the remaining judges come up as a group. There's Wayne Ryan. Thank you very much. Todd Atkin,
Good job.
self-service. Art Atkinson. Cindy Trainer.
Thank you, thank you.
Jyoti Rajadikari.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Dan Craig. And a double winner tonight, judge and target speaker, Don Wadley.
And here we go, Sergeant at Arms.
And this late breaking.
Yeah, just in case anybody wants to know.
I hope to see you all this Saturday at the division contest in Muscatine. What's the time and the place?
10.
It's at the time, it escapes me off the top.
10 o'clock, Stanley Consultants.
Right. What time again?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Registration.
The judges and contestants meet about half hour before that.
No, the open's at 10.
The door opens at 10. 10:30 is when the contest will start. The briefings will be probably at 10 after 10. This is at 225 Iowa Street. Is it Iowa Street or Avenue? Avenue, that's whatever. 225, it's the Stanley Consultants Auditorium. Hope to see you there.
Okay, thank you.
Our meeting is adjourned.
I'll pick up.